Hello everyone, this is Joe Brewer here in Barichara, Colombia. Today we're back in the food forest in Bioparque Moncora. There's our volunteer Kathy who's helping us today. We are planting guanabana trees. Guanabana, also known as soursop, is a tropical fruit that's quite delicious and prized for its flavor and texture. And we had some the other day, if you recall from a previous video, we did a technique of taking these rescue trees and cutting the top off with a machete and soaking them in a sludge of water and lentils, which has been happening for the last 2.5 days. And here's the first one that we planted. Right here, you can see that we've cut off the top of it and it's sitting here. And what I want to show you is how we dug this hole. Which is we've built a hole that's about maybe 1.5 feet deep. So it goes down a little ways. Then we mixed in some what is basically a locally made potting soil. In Spanish, they call it arbono, mixed together with something called cabrichaza, which has goat manure in it as well, as a natural fertilizer. And we mixed that with the clay we dug from the hole. But then you can also see in the shape that it's actually beveled, like there's a bowl that'll hold water. And we've made a small boomerang-shaped swale around the bottom so that when it rains, water will run into the hole and then it'll stay there with the tree. And what you may recall from other previous videos is that we have these acacia magnum trees, like that one right up there, that we do chop and drop on. At least, wait, sweetie, I'm recording. And so when we cut branches off of this tree, we make piles of them, and in less than 2 months, they become available to start using as a kind of mulch. And this here is leaves from the acacia magnum and little branches that we had cut off with the machete and had been sitting to turn into a mulch. So because we had those standing by, we were able to just put them right here on the tree. So I wanted to show you this little technique and say that what we did the other day with our experiment to soak these guys, I'll show you what that's looking like here a couple days later, is here are all of our trees sitting in the bucket with this liquid. It's kind of hard to see, but it's got a little surface layer of broken down husk of the lentils. And most of our trees we've cut off as we were recommended. And I've left a couple of them experimentally, leaving the leaves on. And you can already see just after 3 days, they're drying out and dying, which means my friend's suggestion of cutting them was probably a good idea. And so what's really nice about this is we were able to water them with a bucket from the beginning of our rainwater harvesting system over here. We were able to make mulch from the chop and drop from this pile right over here from the acacia magnum tree that we had cut about 2 months ago. And now we're in a position to be able to start planting our first trees in our food forest. So this is just a nice example of how the different pieces are set in place. We've built a rainwater harvesting system to have water on site. We've been doing chop and drop to have ready-made mulch and compost. We have a vivero or a tree nursery that's nearby that we built last year, where we're able to bring over the potting soil that we've been collecting there. And we have some compost systems that have been building soil for about a year. And then we have the shape of this land cleared, where we cleared all the grass and dug our pond. And so we have the area for us to start planting. So you can see that it's starting to become a food forest. And while this is experimental with these guanabana trees, we don't know if they're going to survive. They were rescued and in bad condition when we got them. It's still going to be beneficial to the soil to break it apart and loosen it and mix in some of that potting soil into the ground and lay down some mulch. So even in the worst case scenario, even if all of these trees don't survive, we've still improved the soil in key locations where we can come back later and redig the same hole and plant a different tree. So if these trees don't make it, we're still preparing the area for future plantings. So you see how much resilience there is already in this system by building the different pieces and starting to put them together, and we're just getting started. So I hope this gives you some insights in how we're starting to plant trees here in our little food forest system, and that it inspires you to go and regenerate some degraded land where you are.